Where do I begin? Where do we begin with this game? I I don't really know where to start. That was probably one of the most frustrating games we have seen from Manchester United this season. It's such a I feel two ways about it, right? Because on one hand, it felt like we came out like we just didn't want to play. Like we just didn't bother playing. And I get the atmosphere was tough. I get his Newcastle was always tough to get a result at home against them, despite, three teams prior doing it. Of course, they wanted a result. Newcastle, I think, there's not any shame on Newcastle, but I think Newcastle, they think they're better than they actually are. They think that we are rivals for some reason, but we aren't. And they do try extra hard against us, as they should. They're entitled to do that. It's not a great take I'm having here, but I'm just frustrated watching. I was frustrated watching that game. I mean, why did it feel like we just didn't want to play? If you look at the way Newcastle started versus the way United started, I mean, night and day, complete night and day. Newcastle were pressing head on. They were going for balls. They were able to keep possession. They were putting together a nice string of passes to bypass our midfield. And I get it. United, I think one thing for sure that we can take off from this game is that I do think that this United team is far, far by far improved. Now, you might be wondering why I would even say something like that, considering we just lost 2-1 to 10 men. However, when you look at how Newcastle came and the intensity that they came with, okay, so I have two things to say. First of all, why didn't we have that sort of intensity, considering the fact that we've been playing pretty much one game all season? Just because the second week this season you have a game midweek, that's an exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying. The second game this season that you have a game midweek, and all of a sudden you think you're tired, when Newcastle's literally out here playing Champions League football, and you couldn't keep up with their intensity. Make that make sense. This game was all sorts of frustrating. I can't even begin to describe how I felt watching it. By the end of that game, I was completely deflated. I thought we might actually get a win, and then we didn't. They had a counterattack, and it was a great goal. I can't hate on it. It was a great goal, but much better than Arsenal goals. But regardless, man, we should not be losing that game. Against 10 men, you should not be losing the game. I understand football is football. It's still hard. Sometimes it can even be harder to play against 10 men because then they completely change their shape and formation. They sit back, and it's just harder to break down, even if you do have a man up. So I get that, and that's what happened today. But at the same time, it's still not an excuse to lose a game to 10 men. It's still not an excuse whatsoever. Now, Bruno gave away the pen. I thought Bruno's performance today was interesting. It was one of two faces. On one hand, he was great. He was fantastic. He had the assist. On another hand, he just was lacking something. He was lacking just that edge, like in the box. I just not in the box, but sorry, that like defensive edge that you can't even expect that from him, but he has been giving for most of the season at least. He can recover balls, but just that to give away that penalty the way he did, it was unnecessary. Like, it was unnecessary. You don't do that. Someone as experienced, it's even more frustrating when it's Bruno, because someone that's as experienced as him, for me, should not be giving away penalties like that. If someone like Casemiro did it, okay, he's had worse, but even he's very experienced. Someone like Dalot did it, Marjari did it. Okay, I wouldn't feel that doing it the way I do right now, but the fact that Bruno, man, I think it's just a stupid pen to give away. First of all, it was just an extremely stupid pen to give away. At the end of the day, okay, if you look at the stats, for example, right, this game wasn't our worst game. We had more possession than them, obviously, because they went down to 10 men. If it wasn't for that, I don't think we would have. Even though we were gaining some possession after their intense start to the game. They had more expected goals, mostly because of the penalty, might I add. That adds basically one, which you can see that. Other than that, the game was extremely even. Total shots, we had 14 to their 12. They had 5 on target, we had 5 on target. Big chances, we had 4, they had 2. that Mbomo chance. I mean, this game could have been ended. This game really could have been ended. I'm not gonna lie, could have been ended early. Um, Big chances missed. We missed 3. They missed 1. Man, accurate passes. We had more passes. They committed a bit. They committed less fouls. We had more corners. Man, it's just a frustrating game. This was such a frustrating game. In a match week where we had Aston Villa drop points, where we had Liverpool drop points, and we're supposed to capitalize, and we couldn't. Now, we have been capitalizing so far, so I guess it's too much to ask, maybe, of this team to capitalize for every single point, but it's still disappointing. It's still disappointing. I think it's important, as much as you want to look at the negatives, I think it's important to look at the positives as well. When you look at how that game is played, one thing that stands out to me is how, regardless of how intense, or not regardless, despite how intense Newcastle started, they didn't really get much from us. And I think that shows our quality, and that shows our defensive rigidity, and how much that's improved. I think if that's against Amorim, just like that last game, I mean, we'd be losing 4-1. Just like that last game, we'd be losing 4-1. The way they started against us, so intense, we couldn't match it. We couldn't build out from the back. We couldn't really win second balls. They were all over us, and we just let them tire. We let them tire them out. We absorbed it. Sometimes that's the right thing to do, and we did that correctly. Now, Bruno gave away the pen. Unfortunately, that was a crazy end to the first half. Bruno gave away a pen. They had a pen. They scored it. We pretty much instantly reacted to that and scored an equalizer. The second half was one that was very frustrating because obviously we know going into the second half that they're going to sit more in a low block. They're going to be a bit more tighter, more compact. And that's exactly what we saw. However, we still need to do better at breaking them down. We had chances. I can't look back at that game and say we didn't have chances. We had chances. So that's what makes it even more frustrating because we should have killed that game. I mean, you had Mbomo's chance. Who else? I can't even remember. All I remember is their goal just playing replay in my head and how we could have won that game. If Bruno didn't give away the pen, that would have been a different story. Like, oh my God. I think a lot of things just kind of went wrong for us during that game. I don't even know. Like, I don't even think that's the case, actually. I just think ultimately we lost the game. I think Newcastle were just slightly the better team. And ultimately we should have done a bit more to win that game. I'm really trying to focus on the positives, but every time I talk about the positives, I shift more to the negatives. So maybe this isn't the video to talk about the positives, but there are positives that came out of this game. I do want to say, I think if that was Ruben Amorim, we'd be losing a lot more, even if it is the 10 men. So I think there are positives, not with individual performances per se, except for maybe Cunha. Cunha I thought was our best player without a doubt. Shesko still showed very bright signs. Casemiro played okay. Even though he got the goal, he played okay. Bruno, apart from that frustration in defense, he played okay. So I can't look at anyone and say they didn't play. Let's see what the ratings are. Let's see what FootMob thinks, because I'm actually curious what they think. Yeah, Bruno, best rating. He got the assist. Casemiro, again, Cunha was exceptional. I think Cunha was our best player by far. Shesko was decent. Maguire was pretty decent. Lenny Euro was decent. Everyone was decent. So I can't. There's not one person. Mainu kind of went under the radar, but I think that's what he's being asked to do. Just keep it low key. Don't make any mistakes. Rotate the ball. So I can't look at anyone here and be like, we didn't play well. They didn't play well. They should have done better. I think just as a team, we just weren't up for it today. And I think that's a cause for concern to some extent. The main thing is really how we react in our next game. But again, in a match week where we should have capitalized, I mean, we could have gone. Looking at the table, we're 51 points. We're still level Aston Villa. Aston Villa lost 4-1 today against Chelsea. I think at least 4-1. Yeah. We could have been 54 points. That's 6 points within City. That second place, we're coming for that second place. We could have been, but at least we're still third. We've done well enough where we are able to lose a game and still be in the same position, which is I think you have to look at the whole season as a whole. Yes, we lost. It's important to come back the next game. But that being said, we're at a position where we can lose a game and still be third. That's a testament to how well Michael Carrick has done, and it's important to look at that side as well. So, unfortunately, we lost today. Newcastle, they came out stronger than us. United players, we just weren't up for it. It was unfortunate. And I think I'm more so looking forward to their next game because, like I said, this is part of what I wanted to see. I don't ever want us to lose, to be fair. But if we did lose, I want to see how we react to that, and now we have the chance to see that. So now it's all about looking at the positives, looking at what went wrong exactly. I think I'm going to analyze that game a little more, just give you guys my thoughts. But these are just more. This is just more of a immediate match reaction. I'll need to look at the game a little bit more and just tell you my thoughts because that game was just frustrating. We just looked weaker. We looked slower. We looked just everything less than Newcastle. Yet we still kept up with them, and I don't know if that's a lack of their quality, but I don't think it is. They have good quality, so I don't think it is. So I think that's more of a testament to how good we are individually, and if we're really up for it, we can perform. But we just weren't up for it for this game. But anyway, that's my take. I'll probably bring something out later in the week, talking a bit more in depth to what I think went wrong exactly. But it's just my immediate match reaction. But let me know what your thoughts in the comments below. Massive disappointment, but again, it's more about how we come back from this. So it is what it is. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Peace.